2020. The year of chaos, especially for us moms. But if you're anything like me, you may have found yourself at a crossroads when it came to your children's education through the pandemic. And if you are considering homeschooling for the very first time, but do not quite know where to start in terms of curriculum, this is the video for you. Today I'm going to share with you how I made an entire curriculum for my first grader for this crazy, chaotic year, all off of Amazon. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Sarah, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a homeschool mom. Now, I was not always a homeschool mom, and honestly, I don't know how long I will continue homeschooling. But for this crazy time of 2020, I am a homeschool mom of 3 school-aged children. So I actually have 6 children. One of them is actually a little bitty newborn. So I would be lying if I didn't say that the idea of homeschooling was very daunting and overwhelming to me. However, given the options throughout this pandemic, especially from our public school system, we knew that homeschooling was the right choice for our family. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you may be in the same boat. You're questioning, do I keep my kids in public school and keep doing this back and forth, in and out of school thing, keep going virtual with them? Or do I push it all aside, make my own schedule, try this homeschooling thing, and pick my own curriculum? So that's what we decided to do, simply for the fact that we had 6 children and I could not be in 3 places at once when it came to ensuring that my kids were logged onto Google Meets, that they were getting their stuff turned into their teacher on time, that my toddlers weren't jumping in the Google Meets, etc. It was just going to be too overwhelming for our family. So for the short term, we decided that we were going to homeschool instead. Now, we do not know how long homeschooling is going to last for us. We do not know exactly what choices our public school system is going to continue to make through this pandemic. We have been following them closely, and for us personally, we're not willing to send our children back to public school until they are back in school 5 days a week, and that has not happened yet. So we are continuing this road of homeschooling. But with the unknown, it was really daunting when I first started looking at curriculum for my children, because I did not want to invest $600, $700, $800 in a curriculum that I might only use 3 months. However, I wanted to ensure that they stayed on track and they were ready once they were able to go back to school. So that is where this video comes in, and that is where Amazon came in. It's my goal that I can help you moms that might be considering homeschool for the first time. Whether you had been thinking about it for a while, or after this first semester of pandemic schooling, you've decided to pull your kids out and you just want to go the homeschool route. I'm hoping that this helps you, and I'm hoping that it shows you that you can create an entire curriculum for your child without a lot of back work on your part and without spending a lot of money. So for my entire curriculum for my first grader, I actually spent less than I would have spent on public school fees, which is a win. But I think that I'm actually going to make this a series for my channel. I am going to share my first grader's curriculum today, and then in some videos in the future, I'm going to share my 4th and my 5th grader's curriculum as well. So if that interests you at all, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you do not miss a future video. And I also show the behind the scenes of what homeschooling really looks like here on my channel as well. It's my goal as a mom to keep it real, because with 6 children, you don't really have another option. But with all that being said, let's jump into what you actually clicked on this video for. My curriculum in entirety from Amazon. So this is my entire curriculum for my first grader. It all fits in this little handy dandy organizing box that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. We really spend big money around here. But I'm just going to go through it step by step, share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and my honest opinion of the curriculum that I chose. And before I get into this, I am going to say that every single one of these workbooks are going to be linked in the description box below. That way, if you decide you want to use them as well, it's a one-stop shop. You can just click below, purchase them, and be done with it. It's all about making our life easier in the midst of this chaos. Okay, so the first book that we are going to dive into is my first grader's math workbook. This is by Home Press, and it really focuses on addition and subtraction in various ways. So it introduces it in various forms. We have begun borrowing, we have been working on number lines, etc. But it introduces basic addition and subtraction in ways that your first grader can understand, but that still challenges them. So one of the things that I really love about homeschooling is that you can create an entire curriculum based on the abilities of your personal child. So my first grader advances in math, but he falls a little bit behind when it comes to like phonics and reading. So I was able to keep him on track with his math, but then I was able to kind of like pull him back a little bit when it came to other areas. So you will see in the midst of this video that some of my workbooks are first grade level and some are kindergarten level, but you can do what works best for your child. But this book, we actually do 2 pages a day, and it does require me to sit and work with him side by side, just to ensure that he understands exactly what the problems are asking him to do and to ensure that he's doing them correctly. But this does not take us super long, and I feel like it's keeping him right where he needs to be, plus teaching him new things as well. This book by Highlights, we actually call this our big book. And as you can see, I did purchase the kindergarten level of this book, but I will link the first grade one below as well. But this book essentially has multiple different subjects in it. That way you can kind of like cover multiple areas in one workbook. So it covers letters, numbers, sight words, patterns, phonics, sorting, and more. This book also has like really fun like hidden pictures and mazes and things like that, which will kind of like be a good filler when your first grader or younger child starts kind of getting a little antsy. It's always good to kind of like break up the hard work with the hard work to come with something fun in the midst of it. So for this workbook, we actually usually do 4 pages a day, and we'll kind of mix and match like letters, numbers, phonics, etc. But it's also been great for teaching him how to look for page numbers in a book. So I'll just tell him, okay, Paxton, you need to find like page like 128 today. So it will take him a little bit like going through the pages, but it's teaching him that basic skill as well. This book, for the most part, unless we are doing the math portion, he could do on his own. So if I'm trying to help the older kids, or if the baby needs me, or if the toddlers are just being crazy, I can give him this book, have him do a page, and walk away, and he can get it done on his own. So it does introduce all of the letters, it introduces the letter sounds, it introduces the numbers, it helps you like figure out like what number's missing, etc. I would say that I could probably purchase the first grade book in this if I were to do it over. I don't think that I necessarily needed to do the kindergarten level, but that's what we purchased in the beginning. So we're just kind of finishing this one, and then I'll probably repurchase the first grade book for the spring semester. But this is by Highlights. It can be found on Amazon or in the description box below, like I said. This is actually one of my favorite pieces that I purchased for his curriculum. This is 100 Write and Learn Sight Word Practice Pages. And what I love about this book is on each page it introduces a sight word at the top. So we will sound it out, I'll tell him the word, and then it also has him trace that word, write that word, use that word in a sentence, and it also introduces cutting and pasting skills. So at the bottom of every page it will have the word at the bottom, and he will cut it out and he will paste it right here. So I feel like this book is introducing various different skills, plus working on his sight words that he's trying to like memorize and really be able to like pick out when it comes to reading. But this is another great book that he can work self-sufficiently on. So if I absolutely have to get away from the table or absolutely have to help the older kids, then I can tell him, do your sight word page and mommy will be right back. So there's nothing in this book that requires me to hover over him or help him. He could do it all on his own, and it makes him feel big. I think that he is doing something on his own without my help, and it also helps me stay sane when it comes to homeschooling while introducing various skills. So this sight word practice page is one of my favorite things that I bought for this age, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Okay, next up is just a fun filler activity. So like I said, in our big book, it actually had like hidden pictures and mazes, etc. But what I realized after he finished all of the hidden pictures in there is that he kept asking for more. So he was wanting to do that every day, but we had ran out of pages. So I actually hopped on Amazon. I purchased this book for less than $3, and it's just a hidden pictures book. So this is something that I give him after we work on something really hard like math. I give him this, let him work on the hidden pictures, let him have fun doing it while I help the older kids get something done in the house, take care of the baby, etc. But this helps him have a little break. It helps him do something fun, and he really, really enjoys this. So if you're looking for just like something like to have for a filler, I highly suggest like a book like this. Okay, the next two things are just basics. You can actually purchase these at the Dollar Tree, but I will link these in the description box below as well. So obviously handwriting for a 6-year-old is pretty sloppy. So every day we work on handwriting, and all I did was just purchase a basic handwriting tablet from the Dollar Tree. But like I said, I will have one linked below. And every day what I will do is I'll either write his name at the top, or I'll write a sight word that I want him to work on, and he will write that word 4 times. So this is helping him like learn to write his name correctly. It's helping him remember sight words and really just like building those basic handwriting skills. So you don't need anything fancy to be able to do this, but it works really well with this age level when their attention span is about this big. This goes along with that as well, handwriting skills / just art skills in general. It's just a basic journal. So at the beginning of every day, I will have him journal about said topic. So I'll say like, what did you do this weekend? Or tell me about your football game, etc. And he can like, he pretty much just draws pictures at this point, but he's journaling and being creative. So just any basic composition notebook will work for that. You do not have to spend a lot of money, but I'll have it all linked below. That way if you just want to purchase everything at one time. But journaling, it's good for them. They can push back about it a little bit, but it is what it is. Okay, so when it came to my first grader, the most daunting area for me when it came to his education was teaching him to read. I don't know how to teach somebody to read, and I knew that he had to learn to read this year to be able to integrate back into his grade at public school next year if the pandemic is, I don't know if it'll ever be over, but if things are different next year, if he wanted to go back into public school, I wanted him to stay on track, and reading was very important. So this is actually the only thing that I did not purchase off of Amazon, but I purchased it through an ad that came on Facebook. And this is actually by Learning Dynamics, and it's an entire program that teaches your children to read. And I highly, 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 highly recommend this program. The great thing about this program is that it really walks you as the mother and your child as the student through the process of learning to read. So it comes in this big pack, but it breaks this big pack down very easily for you. So it comes with a lesson manual for you, and then it comes with a student workbook for your child. And the great thing about this is that it doesn't introduce the entire alphabet collectively as a whole all at one time, but it breaks down the alphabet into maybe 4 or 5 letters that you are going to work with your child over the course of like 4 or 5 books. So this whole thing comes filled with multiple books, and the first level of books are the blue ones. So the great thing about it is your lesson 1 will tell you introduce the letter M. It'll tell you to say M says and it has songs that goes with it. It has a poem, and in your student's workbook it also has like an activity to introduce the letter M and sound. Then it comes with a set of flashcards. So you only pull out the flashcards that correlate with the letter that you are learning at that time. So you'll pull out the M flashcard, and every day you just hold that up. I'll ask my son, what letter is this? He'll say M. I say, what does it say? And then it will tell you, after you do so many letters, it'll say introduce book 1. So like I said, the first books are the blue books. And so you will introduce book 1, and book 1 will only have like the 4 or 5 letters in it that you just learned with your child. So it'll be very simplistic, like Sam, Pam, hat, bat. Super simplistic, but it's not overwhelming them with the entire alphabet and expecting them to remember all of the phonics at one time. And after you go through so many blue books, it will say, okay, introduce these letters now. So then you'll introduce new letters to them. After you introduce those, you'll move on to like book 3 and 4, etc. And so it's really just introducing the entire idea of reading, phonics, letter recognition, etc. And a way that's not overwhelming to your child or to you as you're trying to teach them. So right now we are on book 8 of the Blue Books. We've been working on this since about August, so I wouldn't say that my child is flying through this by any means, but he's definitely advancing, and it's really cool to see reading starting to click with him. So like I said, book 1 is very simplistic, Pam. But then when you get to the further books, so here's book 7, for example, even the title is Hal's Fat Bag. It's just more complex. And so I feel like this has been super great for him. And what we do is every day we actually, right now, we read through all of our Blue Books since we only have 8 of them. So he will fly through Pam, and he'll fly through like book 2 and 3. But then when it comes to like book 7 and 8, he still has a little bit of difficulty, and that's totally okay, and we have to sound out the words again. But this program has been amazing, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's not expensive at all. Like I said, you cannot purchase it off Amazon, but I do have it linked below. Highly recommend it for anyone who is trying to teach their child to read. This could work for preschool, kindergarten, first grade, even second grade level. Like wherever your child is at, this can meet you. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I found this program. So it will be linked below. Highly recommend it if you are looking for a program to help you teach your child to read. So that's basically it for our curriculum. We are introducing like Bible and history, science, art in other fun ways. We do a field trip every Friday, and I kind of put those subjects into that. Or sometimes we'll just pull out like Art for Kids Hub on YouTube and sit and just draw as a family. So there's a lot of ways that you can introduce other subjects without having to buy like an actual workbook. But for a basic curriculum, just to keep your kid on track and kind of keep their brain working while we're in this crazy pandemic of a year, and we as moms are still trying to figure out what the future holds, this curriculum is working. And it's working for us, it can work for you. So like I said, I'm going to have all of this linked in the description box below. I hope that it helped you. I hope that it helps kind of take away those overwhelming feelings as you are considering homeschooling. And if you are considering homeschooling for the very first time, it's gonna be great. Like, as much as it's overwhelming at first, it's been a really, really good thing for our family. So give yourself grace. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and just take it day by day. But like I said, this is going to be a 3-part series. So if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. That way you do not miss those upcoming videos. And give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know if you're new in the comments below, or let me know if you have any homeschooling questions. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.